Welcome all to the December 2nd Wilton Town Board meeting. I'm going to start with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Supervisor Lamb?
Here.
Deputy Supervisor McCachran?
Here.
Councilman Bogardus?
Here.
Councilwoman Culligan? She's here via Zoom.
She's
And
waving.
Present.
Councilman O'Connor?
Here. Thank you.
Hey, wait a minute, we could have done Zoom. Could have done that from the garage.
Actually, that's the number one.
Yeah, you could have worked a couple more hours. Everybody get a chance to read last month's minutes? If so, somebody want to make a motion to approve them?
Recording in progress.
I'll make a motion, we approve last month's minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Lincoln Mountain Snowmobile Club. Morgan? Good, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well. Trying to stay out of the thunderstorm.
Yeah, what the heck?
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
Yeah, I see on the way here.
Good for snowmobiling.
Right.
Not gonna do some of the snowmobiles.
Yeah. So, no, I just thank you for having me again. I know there was some follow-up from last time. So I was able to send the town clerk just this evening the latest certificate with the town of Wilton listed on it.
Okay.
So that is there with the address and everything. As for the language, I've reached out to New York State Snowmobile Association and also our insurer. Having a little bit of trouble because they insure hundreds and hundreds of snowmobile clubs, and to change the language for every single town, that's multiple hundreds. So I'm trying to find out if there is any way to put an addendum on it. But there is quite a bit of pushback because they've never had this request before that we've seen. So that's where we are. The other update that I have is we're still working on the trail. We're trying to find other ways to get across so we're not driving on Ernst as much. With Mr. Bowman selling some of the property that we were going to use originally to cut off part of Ernst going from the Railroad Pub area. That has been sold. We've talked to the new owner, but they are going to build, so we'd rather avoid having to build a trail and then come back and try to ask for a different location. So right now we're actually looking at going straight across from Stanley Paving and going, there's a piece of property there, a large parcel that we've been given permission on that we're going to walk with the owner. And then there's one other landowner that we'd have to talk to. At that point, we'd also avoid the bridge at the Little Snook Hill. So we'd be able to bypass that and go right up onto the power lines. And the only road running that we would have would be on a butter. So that's where we are right now. As far as contacting landowners, until we have the trail verified, we can't, but we will reach out to anybody who is adjacent to it to let them know that we're planning to put a snowmobile trail there, and then, if there is any pushback on it or people who are concerned, then we can talk about, restricting times and all that at that point.
So it'll be another month before we vote on it then, you're saying?
That's up to you if you don't think you have enough information. I mean,
No, I've checked with the county and everything you say is true, so.
right, I mean, we have,
I couldn't believe there's 23 clubs in this county, they told me.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there's quite a few, and they're consolidating, so there's one that's consolidating a lot of them. The Saratoga Snowmobile Association, we've got the #1 snowmobile club in the whole state, so it's quite popular here. And that's what we're trying to link to. So as far as, voting on it, I'm not sure what we would be voting on at this point. Was there a motion made last time that needed to be voted on? I thought for the current regulations that the Ernst and Woodard were both designated as snowmobile trails already.
Do you have insurance in hand, is my question?
Yes, we do.
It's in the...
It was in the pamphlet he gave you.
Okay, no,
He just sent a new form.
I'm going to defer to our legal counsel, Mark. I know last month he came here and proposed stuff, and we were a little short on the insurance, I believe it was.
Well, first of all, it wasn't current.
Right.
It wasn't current, and there was some language that was a little limiting, we thought. You said, also check with the town's insurer, which I think you've done,
Right.
and they're comfortable. Is that right? I mean,
Yes.
yeah, if they're comfortable that that takes care of that, then obviously it should be current, and then the town will put additional, which sounds like it's in the works.
The current is that you have, I've sent the town clerk.
You have that, so-
Yeah.
Julie's going to get it off my
So in your legal opinion, we could move forward with the approval of this tonight?
The gentleman asked the right question, which is exactly what's being approved. It sounds a little amorphous in terms of the path, the trail, the system. In other words, you're not yet set on what roads you're using, what roads you're not using, and the like.
The roads we are sure of, so Ernst Road and Woodard are the two. And they're only, actually Ernst we're working, so we'll only have to cross it, which wouldn't require anything to crossing.
Right, you're trying to avoid going along Ernst.
Correct.
Yes, everything you said sounds great. Sounds like steps in the right direction, and also addressing, Erin, can you hear us? 'Cause
Yes.
So you had a concern about the snow kill also, and it sounds like, again, they're in the process of addressing all the concerns you mentioned last month. It also sounds like they're being very candid and saying they're not quite done addressing them, which is more credit to them for working on it.
Yeah, to be honest, we changed trails throughout the season, so we could change it today. It could be one way today, and then a landowner says something or another landowner opens it up, we could change it a week from today. So that's not uncommon for that to be fluid like that. Yeah, I mean, right now what we're proposing is potentially riding on Ernst, crossing Parkhurst, and riding on Woodard, with the best case scenario being only riding on Woodard and crossing Ernst and crossing Parkhurst.
And any action we take is limited to allowing snowmobiles in the town's right-of-way along those roads. The rest of the trail system is on private property, and that's up to the private property owners, not at our discretion.
Mike, you're good with that? Yeah. Okay.
Sounds like we can vote on it.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
You making a motion, Dwayne?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the Lincoln Mountain Snowmobile Club access.
Second.
A second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you.
Carried.
Thank
Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
If you have any other questions, please reach out to me.
Okay.
I'll let you know anything updated. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Marcia.
Thanks.
Nice job.
That's okay.
We can't hold it.
Wilton Wildlife Grant Agreement, you want to handle that, Mr. O'Connor?
Yes, last month's town board meeting, we were discussing the budget. We had a discussion about reestablishing the amount of funding going to the Wilton Wildlife Preserve back to the $90,000 it had traditionally been. It had been reduced, in the prior year's budget, due to a number of considerations, certainly the pandemic and not knowing where we were going to be with sales tax and other income. And we discussed having an agreement between the town and the preserve, if the allocation was going to be increased to $90,000, how those funds would be utilized. And everybody's got a copy of the agreement. It's a half-pager. And it was suitable to the Board of Directors of the Wilton Wildlife Preserve, and they formally approved the agreement. And so it's up to the town as to whether or not they want to approve that $40,000 increase in funding for, principally for the environmental education programs that, benefit our
Second?
No, you gotta make it first. Oh, yeah.
I'll second.
Yeah, so I'll make that motion.
Did we get Aaron to second? Aaron second.
Yep.
Was that you, Aaron, or a mouse? I thought I heard a mouse.
I thought I heard a mouse over here.
Aaron, was that you seconding it?
That was me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Eagle Scout proclamation. Did you read that, Sue?
Sure. Proclamation commending Charm Feng Ang upon attaining Eagle Scout rank. Whereas Charm Feng Ang,
Stand up.
whoops, where are we doing this? Can you see me?
See you, pretty crazy. Stand up.
Whereas Charm Feng Ang is a member of the Boy Scout Troop 4024 of Wilton and recently achieved the rare distinction of the rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas an Eagle Scout award honors the scout, his family, his troop, and his troop leaders. And whereas a Boy Scout is required to complete an Eagle Leadership Service project as part of a qualifying rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas Charm Feng Ang planned, raised money, and led a project to create an interactive game space in the playground of Dorothy Nolan Elementary School in the town of Wilton. The games were designed to promote learning, critical thinking, and cooperation. And whereas Charm Feng Ang set his goal and completed his plan by having the game's solar system and large U.S. map painted in bright colors on the asphalt and walls behind the school for recess activities. And whereas in addition to the creative recess activities, Charm Feng Ang improved the front entrance of the school by adding mulch and painting poles as pencils to welcome students. And whereas it is fitting to recognize the unusual dedication and diligence exhibited by Charm Feng Ang in attaining the rank of Eagle Scout, therefore be it proclaimed that the Wilton Town Board commends Charm Feng Ang for his attainment of the rank of Eagle Scout in the Boy Scouts of America, and be it further proclaimed that the town clerk forward a duly inscribed copy of this proclamation of commendation to Charm Feng Ang.
Thank you, Sue. A few of you know why I didn't read it now, don't you? Thank you. Personal policy updates. You want to talk about that, Sue?
Oh, the workplace anti-bullying policy. So, Nancy.
Got that, Mark?
Yes.
Pay attention. You can't pick on me anymore.
So the board received all of the updates from Nancy Riley.
Everybody get a chance to read them?
Yes.
Any questions?
No. Nope.
Everybody happy? Somebody want to make a motion to approve them?
I make a motion that we approve the personnel policy update.
Have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Association of Towns Voting Delegate and Alternate. Do we have any names?
We have Ryan Riper and Dwayne Bogardus, Councilman Dwayne Bogardus, have gone down. The councilman was the delegate, Ryan was the alternate in the past. Unless there's another town board member that's interested, I did put out an email.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Councilman Bogardus and Mr. Riper as the delegate and alternate to the Association of Towns.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All excused.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Carried. Road dedication, Stone Ridge Road. Is that acceptable?
Yes.
We have
Do it.
everything.
Somebody want to make a motion?
Make a motion. We approve the road dedication, Stone Ridge Road.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Unsafe buildings, we have two of them. We have to
That's Mr. Hopkins.
set a date for public hearing. You want to talk about it, Mark?
I think everybody got copies of what we have. One of them is 23 Vincent. That gentleman has come in and gotten a demolition permit. I'd like to still schedule the public hearing in case he moves forward with anything. That was 23 Vincent Lane.
Mark, is that the one that we've been in contact with, you and I?
No, No, this one is right next door. This is one we've also been to multiple calls. There's a lot of electrical issues. There's no back door, no back side glass door anymore.
Right.
Everything's tore apart inside. The portion in front is falling off.
It is vacant then?
It's vacant.
Okay.
We actually deemed it uninhabitable 2 months ago.
Correct, okay.
And had power and gas removed.
All right, awesome.
The second one is 61 Jones Road. That was a call from EMS in Maple Ave. The house is full of human feces and urine bottles. There's cat feces all over the place. A little bit of a hoarding situation in the front foundation. The entire front of the house, the foundation is collapsing. It's probably out of kilter 3 inches off the top of it now.
And I believe the roof is still compromised from when the tree fell on it a few years ago.
Yeah, the tree fell on that in the rear and they never did anything. So we're not compromised, but it's showing all kinds of rot, which tells me that there's water penetration, further issues with the house.
I'll make a motion to set a public hearing on both the parcels.
That'll be January 6th at 7 p.m.
Okay. Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
Mark, it's a pretty glamorous job you got there. You know, your description of those properties, holy cow.
Well, the fire department was in there and had that.
Don't blame you.
Committee reports.
Actually, I would like to just comment on a couple of things. We did a veterans dedication on Veterans Day over on Ballard and Tabor Roads. I just think the site is just very, very, very nice. It's some place that people can go, especially veterans, and see their names and family names. I've actually had 2 phone calls on it saying, hey, you know, my grandfather's name was on that wall. And it's such a great thing to be able to, you know, honor our veterans that did for the Korean War and World War II. And so I did have a couple of people call up and say, hey, yeah, I saw my grandfather's name on there, which was just, you know, great to hear some public feedback on that, positive feedback. And then right from there, I went over to the scout camp, and Scott and Harrington and a lot of the building guys and the highway guys, they actually set the bridge in at the camp. I've not been there a lot, I have to admit. I've not been there a lot. It's like 3 times, and I was just totally amazed. And, you know, here, I ended up swinging the bridge with a suit on, and Ryan was there, and just a great bridge. There was people hiking and walking through there because school is off that day for Veterans Day, and there's families with kids and walking through there, and they tell me they come there quite often to walk and experience the nature and stuff like that, and they were very happy to see the bridge. I tried to get them to go walk, be the first ones to go across the bridge, but they wouldn't do it. So, but anyways, Scott Harrington and Ryan and the building department and the highway guys, phenomenal job getting that project done. It's just,
Yeah, thank you all from the town board.
Yeah,
Mainly you,
really
Scott, you did a nice job.
that's it for me.
Anybody got anything? Mr. Shackner, we made that marijuana ruling to opt out a few months ago. Now, does that include, you know, we don't want really anybody coming in to buy a big farm and grow it or manufacture that in our town. Maybe come in and buy a piece of property in a building and manufacture that. Is that included or can it be?
The opting out does not include agricultural growing. It includes operation of a dispensary and retail sales, as I recall.
Right.
If we wanted to amend that section of the code for agricultural purposes, is that possible? Or is that allowed under the state
Yes, depending
statute?
on what you mean by amend. The state statute says we're allowed to regulate various aspects, control various aspects of siting and operation up to a point, and then there's preemption. We can't, so for example, we can't prohibit certain things that are allowed by the state. I can give you a more detailed, that's not a very detailed response. I can give you a more detailed response, in a day or two if you like, because there are more details.
We'll just have a special meeting.
Could it be part of a code?
Yeah, it would typically be part of a zoning.
Right, zoning code.
Typically a
so that's
zoning
odd.
amendment. Typically a zoning amendment.
Yeah, then if they come before us, they can just,
You can take care of that before the time runs out so we can get it into the state.
It's apples and oranges. It's not something that would be, part of the opting out. When you say the time runs out, I assume you're talking about the December 31st
Right.
deadline for opting out. No, neither I nor anyone else can do anything now that
Okay.
hasn't already happened.
All right.
Or it hasn't already been noticed, I should say, for public hearing before that deadline. You've done what you wanted to do in reference to that deadline.
add it to our
What I
code.
think we're talking about now is possibility of regulation.
But even back then, I didn't understand it, and maybe, I know the other town board, that's what we thought that was all included, but we found out we were wrong.
You did the most you could have done.
Okay.
Right.
And you did it very timely.
We were only limited to opt out on the two subjects.
Exactly. Exactly. You did the most you could have done, and you did it very, very timely. Now, what I think you're asking, maybe I'm misunderstanding, but what I think you're asking is, separate apart from the aspects that the state will no longer license in the town of Wilton, are there possible avenues to regulate growing operations?
Right.
And the answer is yes, but you were happy to hear me answer yes, but then I need to put more flesh on that skeleton, because I haven't looked into that at all, because no
Okay.
one's asked me that question before. It's definitely limited. There are definitely limitations, but I can give you some better idea of what you can do if you like, and that's not subject to the December 31st deadline.
okay.
Can I ask you also if you could just investigate or look into mass consumption in one place as far as consumption of that at one time?
Sorry, say that again, Dwayne?
Can you look into, can we regulate a business sponsoring an event where people gather and smoke and party and tailgate and whatnot
On private property.
on private property?
I doubt it.
No way.
I
You
very
can't
much doubt it.
If that was the case, Saratoga, you can't even walk down the streets without it. It's just everywhere.
Because I know
I mean, I can look, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I
My understanding of the evolution of the state authorizations is that now that can be legitimate.
Be like telling a smoker they can't smoke on their property. Ain't happening. Yeah.
Smoking a cigarette and smoking a joint and driving is two different things.
Not according to the law.
Yeah, I know. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Maria, would you give us the controller's report, please?
Yes. So part one is our budget transfers. Item one is just moving money from one department to another to pay a legal bill. Items 2 and 3 are related in that we have two departments that are going to bear the cost for one piece of equipment. So we're moving money from each individual department within themselves. So again, we're not asking for more money, we're just reallocating money that already exists. Same with number 4, we're just reallocating money that already exists. We received our bill for the annual pension contribution, which was a little higher than what we had budgeted for unforeseen calculations from actuaries for the state. Item 5 is moving money because we have a new temporary arrangement for a current part-time employee to work additional hours on a weekly basis, again on a temporary basis. So this is the cost for that employee to work for the rest of the year, those additional hours. Items 6 and 7 are related because they're both for catch basin and drainage repair, and the money is coming from the road maintenance salaries that haven't been used, which is the case for item 6, and the case for item 7 is coming from unused permanent improvements for street repair. And the last item is just to cover bills for work clothing and boots from an already budgeted item that's not being used for disability insurance.
I'll make a motion to approve items 1 through 8, the budget transfer.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
Thank you. Item 2 is personnel. So the first item under that, part 2, is Town Clerk Susan Baldwin is requesting overnight travel for NYSTA Regional Conference in Syracuse on Sunday, December 5th. And it's nice to note that the hotel and the travel are paid for by that organization. Item 2, Highway Superintendent Kirk Woodcock is requesting to fill the vacant MEO position effective January 4th, 2022, at the starting salary of $23.16. And item 3, Councilwoman Erin Colligan, Councilman Dwayne Bogardus, Town Clerk Sue Baldwin, and Town Engineer Ryan Riper are requesting to attend the Annual Association of Towns Conference in New York City, which also requires overnight travel from February 20th through the 23rd, and Planning and Zoning Board personnel, Planning and Zoning personnel, I thought, yeah, are to be decided.
Did you want Amy there, Ryan?
Yes.
You think she should be there?
It's, yeah,
Well, I think your department is very important.
yeah, it's good stuff. There's a lot to learn there.
So that would be planning personnel to be decided? Okay.
She attends every conference.
Yes,
Every session.
very good.
Somebody want to make a motion on those 3?
I'll make a motion to approve items 1 through 3 under personnel.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Kurt, can you come up front so you can hear me? Come up front so you can hear me.
Is your name Kurt? The other time you're up here.
I'm not giving you nothing, but I just want you to hear me and don't butt in till I'm done. 'Cause, you know, I just want to thank you for all your years as being your last official meeting. I want to thank you for all your years as highway superintendent and even on the council, because one thing I will say about you, you always put your heart and soul in this town and that job, and I appreciate everything you've done for this town.
Well, I want to just thank you, Mr. Lant, and the town board members, and there's been many of them over my career.
Yes, there has.
Residents, my wife, my family. I've had a great career. Thank you so much. I will be active in the town, I'm sure you know that, so.
That's what I'm afraid of.
All right?
Thank you, Kurt. Good luck, Mike.
And Kirk, he left the town in good hands, the highway department, and thank Sandy, because I think she deserves most of the credit.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Anybody got anything they want to talk about? Somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
So I'll sit here for the rest of the night. I'll make the motion, we adjourn.
That's a second. All in favor? Approved. Good night. Thank you all for coming.
Have a good Christmas.